In this video, I'm going to show you how to begin laying out some sheets for the project. If you've completed the last steps, you should have a title block already loaded into your project. So I'm going to go down to where it says Sheets here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a new sheet. And there's the one that I brought in the last set of steps. So I'll make sure that's highlight with the blue, and I'll click on OK. And if you click on the little plus symbol, you should see that there's a new sheet that's been created. All right, we're going to be creating 2 additional sheets, and the drawings that are going to go on these sheets are levels 0, 1, 2, and 4. And additionally, the east, north, south, and west views. Now, level 3 won't be on here, and I'll explain that later. But so I've got the one created, and it's going to default to A101. And what I'm going to start doing is dragging over some of these views to the sheets. Now, one thing I want to mention is that for this set, or for these drawings, we're going to maintain the same scale. If we wanted to increase or decrease the scale, we would do that. It'd be best to do that before you bring them in. But we'll be leaving them at the 1/8 inch scale. So I'm going to go back to the sheet. Double click on it here, scroll up to where it says level 0 and drag that onto the sheet. Okay, now you can see that part of the graphics are starting to kind of move a little bit past the title block border. So we will need to go and make a little bit of a few revisions to get everything to fit. But for now, what I'm going to do is just drag these over and place them on the sheets. Okay, and then I'm going to go down to where the sheets are again. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a second sheet using the same title block. And on this one, I'm going to bring level 2 and level 4. Okay, my third sheet, I'm going to right click here, new sheet, and it will become A103. I'm going to use that for my elevation drawings. I'm going to put the north elevation at the top. Keep in mind too that it's going to automatically number them. So if you have a sense of, what the order of the sheets is going to be, some people will lay out a sheet or a whole set of drawings where number 1 is at the lower right, and then you move towards the left and then up. Other people prefer to start from the upper left and read like you would a book, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So whatever you choose, you just want to be consistent throughout the set just to make sure that people can more easily find what they need. Okay, that is the north elevation. Then I'm going to put the east elevation here, the west elevation next to it, and at the bottom of the sheet, I will place the south elevation. Okay, and you can see that it's automatically numbering them in the order that I brought them to the sheet. Now, if you find that your levels have sort of shifted or you didn't move them previously, which is more likely the case, you'll need to go to those sheets and make those adjustments. So, for example, if I go to my east view and I begin to drag these over, and I think I can leave that how it is, go back to sheet A103, and that change should have been made, and I can sort of pull them apart. So you want to spend a little bit of time kind of moving things around a little bit, getting them to fit a little bit better on the page. For the north one, I'm going to go back to my north elevation and bring those levels over. Go back to 103. And we'll renumber these at a later time, but we just kind of want to get things generally laid out. So you can do things like pull these in so they're not overlapping the border. Maybe the whole drawing can shift over a little bit. Okay, and the same thing goes for the ones that have plan views or the floor plan views. You can begin to kind of shift things around a little bit. So I'll go to this one up here is level 0. And I can start to sort of bring those in a little closer so that they fit. These elevation tags can come into so you want to kind of go through and just make these minor revisions to all of the levels so things start to fit a little bit better. And we'll be continuing to make more changes to this. One thing to keep in mind, if you want to move the titles of the drawings, you can click on them. If you want to pull this end of the tail in, click on the view. So I'm kind of up here and then drag that in a little bit. So I have sheet A101 cleaned up a little bit. I moved some of these elevation targets. As I mentioned, if you need to move the titles of each one, you can click on them when they turn blue. You can drag them, or you can also use the arrow keys to kind of shift them up and down. I tried to align them so they're consistent, like the distance between the start of the title and the edge. And I've also tried to align the column lines a little bit just to make the sheet look a little bit more orderly. And, you know, I want to give a little bit of space between these elevation targets and the detail name. So I'll move that down a little bit. And then I'll repeat some of these same changes on sheet 102. So just remember to move the end of the tail here of the title, click on the view up above. And then once you see that blue circle, you can bring it in. Right, so the sheet is also kind of a little bit more cleaned up, and I'm ready to move on with the next step.